Everybody, welcome back to Omens, episode 35. Yeah, the Wheel of Fortune. I'm your host Ryan, AM air pronouns, and this ought to be interesting because I wrote, whoops, sorry, I write everything down on a single page in my notebook, right, for every episode I'm doing, and usually I fill the page up. However, for this one, I actually have like 4 lines of space down at the bottom, which kind of freaked me out when I was writing down. I was like, what am I missing? Nothing. I'm not missing anything, actually. And I didn't even write that small. I think it was just near the end of the night, and I was tired and a little high, and I actually wrote very neatly. It was, it was strange, to say the least. Very strange. But anyway, by the time you're watching this, it will be weeks out from when I'm recording it. So, if you're wondering why I didn't mention whatever freak out we've had recently, or actually, I'm kind of hoping it was something amazing. It's because I haven't gotten there yet. Or everything's just as mundane as it was, and it doesn't matter. But anyway, I'm stealing this from Welcome to those. If we're not mentioning this because of this, stealing those from recent Welcome to Night or Good Morning Night Vale episodes because they like to do that, and it's hilarious. Anyway, as I said, we're talking about the Wheel of Fortune today, which, even though I ended up slightly behind due to mental stuff a couple months ago, the Wheel of Fortune goes perfect with this month. Um, with all the other things I've been talking about, the previous 2 weeks, the Knight of Wands, Cancer, especially with Cancer, and I should, huh? Or maybe that was just something my cannabis-addled brain came up with last night. It's legal where I am, by the way. Shush. All right. So anyway, never mind. Okay. Um, it's just a slight freakout session, but they don't watch this. All right. So in the Wheel of Fortune. So first off, of course, our numerology. So the Wheel of Fortune is the number 10. And we have here the Wheel of Fortune's wheel from my good tarot, which is a very fanciful looking wheel. It's not even really much of a wheel. It's just kind of an emblem, a round emblem with filigree and a sun and a moon on it, and some colors. That's about it. So it's Fortune's wheel. So the number 10, according to my Marseille book, represents the totality or the culmination, the final outcome of an evolution. Which can be because 10 is 5 plus 5, which 5 is the number of kind of chaos and breakout from the structure of order, and also the number of love. So 5 plus 5, 10, the end, the culmination, the final outcome can be both good and bad. Like a cyclical process that involves both ascent and decline, which it's a wheel. Yes, there's both ascent and decline. Which, okay, yeah, I got it. 10 in general, the number itself, as opposed to, but that like where it fits perfectly with the Wheel of Fortune being the number 10. It's both ascent and decline. Everything's going around and around in a cycle, over and over and over and over. Yeah. So now, usually the number 9 has to do with the end of a cycle, especially in Pythagorean numerology, where we go 1 to 9. 10 is kind of not even really considered, or 0 to 9 is usually how it is. But that's, well, 0 is a symbol, not a number in the numerology, and then they go 1 to 9 because that's a 3 by 3 square. 10 isn't even considered, like I said, in most numerology. And so 9 is usually the end of a cycle. It's like the final brilliant point. It's the idealism, the love, the full on. 10, however, is one step above that and all the steps below that. Okay, so I kind of went into this in my 10 of Wands episode, and it will come up in every number 10 episode. They're just spaced out. Very spaced out. But the way I see the number 10 is like when we're going through a cycle, we start. 0 is kind of both nothing and everything. It's infinity. It's more of a symbol than it's a placeholder. It's nothing. It's everything. It's its own mind-blowing experience. When we get into a 1, where we start the actual number process, then we go 2, then 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is like, oh, ascension. We're at the absolute tipping point. We've reached the top of the pyramid, and we're watching everything. And we're like, oh, this is amazing, but now what? 10 is the now what. 10 is where we look back and we go, we've done all this. 10 is where we're like, we've reached the top of the pyramid, and now we're sliding back down. Well, not quite. That's not a very good analogy. Okay, so when we think of evolution, of going up and learning things, it's not a linear learning line. It's helical, yeah, where we're going in a circle, and it's kind of like a spring where we each point on the there's a line of each point on the spring line going up of level to level to level to level to level, but how we learn is going around, hit that point again, go up to all the next points, and then up through that line. 10 is kind of that helical. That's where 10 is where we've gone from 1, we've gone all the way up along the string, and we're back to that number 1, but we're not back where we were. That's below us. That's a whole level below us, and we can sit there and go, oh, wow. But we haven't started on the next number 1 quite yet, which would be 11. So we're like, 10 is right where we're like, we've ended, and we're looking back over everything we've done, and we're looking over the entire next part that we're going to do. It's kind of that, it's almost it's a liminal space. 10 itself is kind of a liminal space of we've ended one cycle and beginning another, but we haven't. 9 is where we actually finished, and 1 is where we actually start. 10 is like that 0, right in the middle of. It's where we've hit that. Instead of 9 is the top of the pyramid, 10 is right above the pyramid, right before we start down it, right above the pyramid and below the base of the next. It's really weird concept to try to put into solid images. I think that's the most I can probably explain it, so I'll leave it at that for now. And again, the 10 will come around again, just like everything else, which is what makes it fun. All right, so in alchemy, in the alchemical fool's journey, the 10, or the Wheel of Fortune, represents the cycles of life. In alchemy, it's where we realize the cycles of life are misery and happiness, are the source of misery and happiness in life. So through understanding and using them, the alchemist is able to stand outside of the domain of fate, and be master of life. Its freedom from the wheel is achieved by following the most propitious time for every act, which is where astrology comes in for alchemy. And now that I'm actually reading that again, I'm going to switch which card I was going to use. I was going to use this for Kabbalah, but oof. Yeah. Shoot. Dang, I've got a bunch of really good cards, and I'm like, they'd all work very well for this. You know what? I'm going to stick with my original card for this, because what the hell. So the original card I have for the alchemy, the card I'm going to use, is from my Supernatural Tarot, and the Wheel of Fortune here is the rabbit's foot. So if you've ever watched Supernatural, or even if you haven't, So there's a specific episode that this is combined in. So, but let's go back to the rabbit's foot in general. Most of us know the lucky rabbit's foot. You take a rabbit's foot and you keep it on a keychain. A lot of, hell, I think they still even sell them, but they're usually fake. They don't usually kill actual rabbits to get lucky rabbit's feet. Um, Originally it was actual rabbit's feet, and it's basically the thing was it's a charm, it's a good luck charm, and you'd rub it for good luck. You'd rub it just before doing something like gambling or um, going out somewhere. You just kind of rub it and just like wish for the best, and that's kind of what its power was. The rubbing was the activator to get it to do good things. So now that's a good luck charm. Good luck, bad luck. It's all kind of subjective and it goes around. So it's perfect for a Wheel of Fortune and for this alchemy where you're trying to master that fate, stand outside of it, be the master of it, and achieve that good luck, that good fortune. Haha. um, in Supernatural episode where the rabbit's foot was involved, it was a cursed object. So basically, once you got a hold of a rabbit's foot, as soon as you touched it, and you had to keep it once you touched it, or do your best to keep it, and I'll get to why, because as soon as you touched it, you were suddenly inundated with good luck. Like, there was being the millionth customer and winning a whole chunk of money as well as some free food. There was, oh shoot, you slipped, find $100 type deal. It was like just amazingly supernatural good luck, no pun intended. But the downside, the reason why it was a cursed object was because everybody wants this kind of good luck. So a lot of people try to steal it, and people pay good money for it. And there was a bit of that black market thing in there, but they were fighting over it. But as soon as you lost their rabbit's foot, your luck would turn terrible, just absolutely horrible. And the biggest thing with this curse was it was not just your luck would turn terrible because you lost the rabbit's foot, but it was going to be terrible until it killed you. That was the big thing with the curse, is you lost the rabbit's foot and now you die. And that magic was still affecting you, and it was bad. It was both hilarious and bad, because one of the main characters, Sam, lost it, like had great fortune, lost it, and Dean was doing his best to like sit here in this chair, do not move. Well, that works great until the electrical cords light on fire, and then or spark, like the curtain on fire. He's like, shit, goes to try to put it out, ends up tangled up in it was a whole thing. But yeah, so in alchemy, the cycles of life with this Wheel of Fortune would be trying to master it with the rabbit's foot. And of course, if you're not careful and you mess something up, well, you're on the descent. So in alchemy, it's learning to ride the wheel, ride the wave, see how it's actually moving and up and down, and yeah, the mastery of it. All right, so that's the alchemy. And a little bit about supernatural. So in astrology, the Wheel of Fortune is associated with Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, who is the greater benefic. Oh, this is why this is perfect for this month, because we were just talking about the Knight of Wands as our minor card for this month, and the Knight of Wands is ruled by Sagittarius, or is part of Sagittarius. Jupiter is the ruling planet of Sagittarius, so that's why it ties in perfect. So Jupiter is the bringer, is the greater benefic. So to kind of repeat what I said in the Knight of Wands episode, there's two benefic planets, which are basically planets of good luck and good fortune, and Venus is the lesser benefic, which means it's good luck, not the greatest, but it's good. And then Jupiter is the greater benefic, which is brilliant luck, as much good luck as possible. Think the rabbit's foot. It's a bringer of good luck and good fortune, bringer of luck and good fortune. It symbolizes growth, especially on a philosophical level, because as we know, Sagittarius is kind of that lover of philosophy, lover of wisdom, wanting to learn and explore. Jupiter, of course, encourages that. It's growth of learning, wisdom. Um, it represents the process of expanding your worldview. Jupiter's greatest gifts are wisdom, success, long life, good health, all the uplifting experiences that life has to offer. Um, it gives the fortune to experience all of life, which both good and bad, as well as the depth to remember what you've been, insight to realize what you are, and imagination to visualize what you'll be. Which, yeah, basically Jupiter is all about the mind blow. Um, and the element the Wheel of Fortune is associated with is the element of fire, of course, because expansion, Sagittarius, yada yada yada. All right, so in the Kabbalah, the Wheel of Fortune corresponds to path number 21, which is the path between Chesed, the Sephiroth Chesed, and Mercy, and Netzach, or Victory. Wow. I have my vice versa tarot here, which on the basically this side, the front side, is the Sphinx holding a wheel on a sandy desert with Anubis on one side and the, I forget his name, snake-headed Egyptian god on the other side. And they're just kind of, they're the master, they're kind of, it's all fate. So the Sphinx is kind of chance and luck, and you gotta solve fate's riddle in order to succeed. And then, of course, the snake and Anubis are kind of guardians of the wheel type deal. On that side, we have the magician from earlier in the tarot and his signature as above, so below pose. However, instead of a candle burning at both ends in his as above, he holds the Ankh, the symbol of power over life and death. And he is standing, and there's greenery behind him, kind of a hill, and he's alone in front of the Wheel of Fortune, which is basically he's sitting here with, I have mastered the wheel. The magician has mastered it. He is the alchemist who stands outside of fate and outside of the domain of fate and is the master of his own life, basically. So in the Kabbalah, path 21 between Chesed and Netzach, so the Hebrew letter associated with this path is in Western. I'm going to start doing this. So in the English school of the tarot, we start with the Fool as 0 as the first card, and it goes down through 21, the World, right? That's what we know best. And of course, in the RWS version, it's Strength, then Justice. Strength is 8, Justice is 11, and whatever. So for that, the Hebrew letter associated with the Wheel of Fortune is Kaf. However, in the French school, or the Marseille, the major arcana starts with the Magician and ends with the Fool. So it goes from 1 to 0, as opposed from 0 to 21. So, and then of course, it's Justice is card 8 and Strength is card 11. But that's not important at the moment. But in the French school, then the Hebrew letter associated with the Wheel of Fortune is Yod, or which is also known as the Finger of God, or the Finger of Fate, which kind of goes a little bit better with this. I'm not good with the Hebrew letters. That's about the only one I know is Yod. I don't know Kaf, so there's probably more to it than that, but eventually we'll do another round of the major arcana, and by then I hope to have know even exponentially more. So be prepared. Be prepared. The symbol associated with this path is a spoon, interestingly enough, and the The English letter is K, and then the number, the numerological value for this, is either 20 or 500. The 500 is the large number is when the letter, the Hebrew letter, is at the end of a word as opposed to in the middle or beginning. So it's only worth 500 if it's at the end of a word. But yeah, I'm, like I said, not 100% great on that. So that's about all I know on that. So the path in between Chesed. Chesed, of course, is loving mercy, overflowing kindness and sweetness. It's associated with the right shoulder. It's again ruled by Jupiter. It's one half of the throat chakra. It's in the tarot. It's associated with the fours, Four of Wands, Four of Swords, etc. Its symbol is the enthroned priest king. So Chesed is just absolute spewing of kindness and love and just mercy. Wonderful. It's the main Sephirah in the Pillar of Mercy. It's the Sephirah that the pillar is named for, pretty much, as far as my understanding goes. So again, with the right shoulder, which is known as the quote masculine, which, as instead of being the strict one in the Kabbalistic tradition, it's the soft, loving, giving side. It's the side of mercy, the side of just love and overflowing abundance. So the Wheel of Fortune associated with the path between that and Netzach, which is victory. Netzach is the feeling emotion, the ecstasy, where we get into that intuition. Think the Knight of Wands, as I put earlier, where it's just going with your own flow, just impulsively moving ahead. Netzach is all about just that broad expansion. So again, we've got this overflowing kindness plus this explosion of just growth. That is what the Wheel of Fortune is in between these two paths, is in between these two Sephirah. Netzach is associated with the right hip, the planet Venus, so our lesser benefic, again with our good fortune and benefics. So it's the path between our greater benefic and our lesser benefic, or associated with both of them. It's one half of the solar plexus, which again, that's our chakra of expansion and creativity and growth and such. And through the throat chakras also has to do with creativity, creative expression, whereas the solar plexus is more about internal creativity, the ideas. The throat is where it expresses. So the Netzach rules the sevens, and its image is the naked Amazon. So that primal, gives no shits, just goes out and does shit. The priest king, the enthroned priest king, which is in charge and ruling and giving, as well as the wildness of the naked Amazon. It's just an explosion of beneficiality, pretty much. So that's the Kabbalah for the Wheel of Fortune, and the Kabbalistic angel is not one of the 72 angels of the Kabbalah, but one of the 6 archangels. So the archangel Metatron is associated with the Wheel of Fortune. Metatron is the recording angel. He's the scribe of God. The only archangel who was originally, or one of 2 archangels, I believe, who was originally a human, who was so pious and close to God that he didn't actually die. He just was brought into heaven. Elijah was the other one, but the archangel Metatron was originally the prophet Enoch, who was the prophet Enoch. The biblical verse associated with the archangel Metatron is Genesis 5:24, and Metatron's duties are to teach and guide. But more specifically, his biggest duty is to record events in the Book of Life. So if you remember from the the Book of Life. There's a movie called The Book of Life. It's a kid's movie, which kind of a similar deal. He basically writes down every single thing that happens all the time. His keywords are advancement and progress. Teaches and guides and records events in the Book of Life. I just said that. He's the ruling archangel of the Order of the Seraphim, and again, keywords advancement and progress. He just teaches and guides to advance and progress. We'll see how many different ways I can say those exact same words. Yeah. So the being associated with the Wheel of Fortune in the Fantasy World Tarot, this is going to get dark, is the Inquisitor. So skip ahead if you need to. I might put down in the notes, because this might be kind of a content warning as to where this ends. So the Inquisitor, of course, as we know, can't find a whole lot on this and why it's associated with the Wheel of Fortune. I'm having a bit of trouble. So the Inquisitor is an official, judiciary, or investigative in an inquisition, an organization or program intended to eliminate heresy and other contrariness to the doctrine or teaching of Catholic faith. There's no real reason I can see this should be associated with the Wheel of Fortune. Like, the only fucking reason I think Vera Putrak put this in here is because, well, as we can see on the back, the wheel. The guy strapped to the wheel to be stretched and then turned over an open fire to be burned. So if this were to come up in a reading, I would say I'd put it in its most negative aspects. Like, either which way. Upright, I'd put it in its negative of shit's going down and it hurts right now. And you're on the descent and shit's fucked, basically. Whereas if it was reversed, it'd be like, okay, you're about to get off that wheel of torture type deal. Things are looking up, looking better. This specific card would be a reversal of the usual traditional roles type deal. And it's not a fun card. This deck makes this card very much not a fun card, which I do like. That is one thing that I just can't get away from with my tarot decks, and the reason I read from so many is because I like the fact that they all bring a different flavor and note to this. So that was from up to 27, 28 minutes. Okay. So the next part of this, 5, is the traditional associations, and we have my Tarot Favor, or yeah, Wheel of Fortune, or La Rueda de la Fortuna. And it's kind of a lady standing in front of a kind of metal grate looking thing, almost like a Wheel of Fortune. That I think there was the reality game show, I think it was actually called The Wheel of Fortune. It kind of reminds me of that. She's just sitting there kind of looking down like she's spinning it, but not in charge of it. Traditional meanings, it's the law of returns, good and bad, always turning, beginnings and endings, having to go through a process to get to an end. It's the biggest thing with the keywords with the Wheel of Fortune is it's like things are just moving and you're not in control, and you could be, but at least you're riding the wheel. And if it comes up in a like, how am I going to get through this? It's like things are just moving and you're just kind of along for the ride. You can't really do anything at the moment. It's just, you got to let it play out. Inverted, tapped oneself up on a cross and refusing to change. It's like, no, I don't want to do anything. Somebody else has to do something for things to get better, for my situation to change. It's like, you want your situation to change? If this comes up inverted or in a negative aspect, it's like, if you want stuff to change, you're going to have to actually get out and do stuff. It's like, this isn't the upright where you're just kind of have to wait things out. Inverted is, you need to actually get your ass moving. Alright, so that is the Wheel of Fortune. Well, that was fun and short, mostly because I'm very hungry. And yeah, like I said, not a whole lot on this one, actually. But some of that is just because the wheel's turning and you just kind of just gotta go with it. But anyway, so that was it for this, well, by the time you're watching it, this month. Oh shit. Oh shit, I just remembered something. Crap. I gotta go change that. Alright, anyway, I just realized that I probably fucked some stuff up in June with some of my videos. Yeah, whoops. Okay, well, anyway. Oh, fuck. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, uh, like, comment, subscribe, all that shit. You know the drill. If you want to email me, it's bagsomens@gmail.com currently. Find me on Facebook. Uh, yeah, I think that's it. So have a great rest of your whatever, and we'll see you next month. All right, bye.